making the same thing in the same process every day. There's a beauty in that, and that's how you get better. But it's also very easy to like fall asleep during that process.
Yeah.
As a baker, attention to detail and like, this feels a little different today. You can kind of like lose that in the process and not say anything. And then all of a sudden you're like, why is this dough so tight? Like I can't stretch it. Like it's because we mixed with the wrong temperature water.
The following podcast is a Pie to Pie production.
Every slice tells a story.
How often do phone orders get screwed up? A busy restaurant, loud noises, it's easy to make mistakes, but with Lohman, it can be a perfect order every time. Somebody that knows your menu better than you do yourself. This isn't some clunky chatbot. Lohman actually takes orders, answers questions, books reservations, and processes payments. Lohman AI, never miss a call, never miss a sale. If you want to level up your guest experience, it's time to get Open. Open helps you win your customers back from third-party delivery. It upgrades your online ordering and even gives you a native mobile app that integrates directly with most POS systems. Send SMS, push notifications. Open gives you all of that without needing a tech team. Get Open and get back to work. Maestro Sausage, hitting all the right notes for 100 years. We run a busy line at Hot Tongue, and Maestro is one of those products that just performs. We use their sausage raw on the pie, and it cooks perfectly every single time. Juicy, consistent, and packed with flavor. It's premium sausage that performs. Maestro, hitting all the right notes. Flat iron pepper. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Stop finishing your pizza with crap. Head to flatironpepper.com and join the pepper flake revolution.
My name's Andy Kadin. I'm the owner of Bub and Grandma's.
My name is Jeff Whitaker, and I'm the chef here at Bub and Grandma's Pizza.
My name is Christopher Lier. I am the head of bread and pastry at Bub and Grandma's.
We're here in the dining room, or what
may be
the dining room, what could be another kitchen, what might turn into a taco shop.
Whatever works at this point. Combination Pizza Hut.
Well, that'd be incredible.
Whatever. What is that thing?
Pizza Hut Taco Bell?
Oh, yeah. Taco Bell. Yes.
We make that joke now because we're right next to the Taqueria Frontera that finally opened up.
No, you are lucky.
We are. And because like anytime there's a mistake in their orders, it's
deliciousness arrives.
It just comes over.
I just had a Masada burrito on Friday. And
yeah, we live like maybe 7 blocks down from the Cypress shop.
Oh, okay.
So we go there all the time.
You're OG.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an OG. Well, that's a crazy success story because those guys they weren't even open a year, and they've got their second location.
Off.
Yeah. Let's just talk the bread stuff, which I want to get to. It's been around for a while. Your story is kind of crazy because you started out in the first professional oven that you put your bread in. Was it here?
It was
in
here.
Town?
Yeah, I don't know. That oven was quite old. I don't know if you would call it a professional oven.
Was it Baker's Pride?
It was a Baker's Pride.
Were you squirting water in there?
It was like, I was certainly squirting water in there. Yeah, I was using sheet pans with water in it to try and get steam, which was not working. So I used a sprayer, and it also was not working. I also didn't want to fuck up an oven that wasn't mine. But yeah, this place that we're sitting right now, the oven that was there, we're the fourth pizza shop in this location in a row. So almost 50 years of pizza shops. And if you're a fan of the movie Fletch, like I am, the car chase scene where he's like steals the car from the guy stealing the car and goes rogue, drives right by the front of Pizza Man when it was in this location. It was Pizza Man, Italiano's Town, and then us. But when it was Town, about 10 years ago, I was baking bread out of my house. At that point, just for Dune and maybe wax paper, or like Cafe Stella or something like that. And it got to a point where I couldn't do it out of my home oven anymore. So Joram, who was a bud, I asked him if I could use their oven because they weren't open for lunch. And he said, yes. So I started baking my bread out of that oven, delivering it, and then going to my other job.
And the rest is history, as they say.
Oh my God. It's a lot of history.
Well, so there's a full circle moment, right?
Yes.
Because now we're sitting in the old town, what will be the Bub's, dining room for whatever this does become. What when I spoke to you, I think I spoke to you a couple times, but I feel like you've maybe not even you said this to me, but I've heard you say like you'll never open up another restaurant, you know, or like, and then you know. When I spoke to you guys when you were getting ready to do this too, and it was like, you know, there's a lot of laughter. There's like, you know, but how did you come? How did you decide to make the decision that this was a good decision? Because I know the sandwich shop, you know, is pretty young, and that took a long time to open up.
Oh my God!
And so then like jumping into another cuisine, which essentially is bread, right?
Yep.
You know, it's still in your wheelhouse.
I mean, that was the main reason why, is because there's the economy of being able to make the dough at the bakery without doing much in the way of labor changing, and like it was just possible to do it out of this space. So we wouldn't have to buy a mixer. We wouldn't have to have the labor to mix in-house, which makes the formula, which is already fairly beneficial for a pizza place just because food cost is so low and you can do a high volume with a low number of people, made sense. Like, sure, we make the pizza dough for Pizzeria Mozza. We already have the process of pizza making going at the bakery. So we just need to do our own dough, which like Chris was sort of in charge of. And now we have our own dough, and it's been refined over like basically like a month ago is when I feel like we really hit our stride in consistency and communication between the bakery and the restaurant. But yeah, that was a big part of it, was like, oh, we're already kind of doing this. We've been making pizza at the bakery for like staff meal for years. We love pizza, are obsessed with it. This is also like, you know, basically Joram, who was one of the three owners of Town, had asked me before if I wanted to take it over. And I was like, dude, no way. Like the restaurant that we already have is totally insane. And I can't even think about doing anything else. But around the time that he reached out again, they already gone through 6 months of negotiation with somebody else on purchasing the space. And then at the signing table, those people left. So he was like, this deal is still on the table. It's insanely good. You should take it. I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. Let me see. But we figured it out just because it made a lot of sense.
So it fell into your lap.
It 100%. It was not, we were not on the hunt for a pizza shop. We were on the hunt to eat pizza personally, but you know, those things are tied together if you're selfish and you want to eat your own pizza.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was that Pauly G's?
No, but Pauly G's no, it wasn't. But Pauly G's was looking earlier. When Town first took the space, Pauly G's was looking to, they were like kind of competing for the space.
Okay.
Yeah. But they gave it to a local group for Town. I think that was part of it. It was like that the owner wanted to give it to somebody who was from here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then the three owners just leave.
Three owners, you know, I think they had a complicated relationship. We can just say that.
Well, we know how partnerships go.
Yeah, boy.
How did like the dough process go? And why did why dialing it in now?
Yeah, great question. Great question.
Man.
I mean, I would say like I think we thought we had dialed it in prior. You know, I don't know what your relationship was with your dough when you were opening, but you know, we actually worked with a chef before Jeff just to consult with Zach, who had opened the sandwich shop with us. So we made a dough formula. We tested it in small batches, but you know, we would do these like R&D days where we would make like 10 to 16 pies or something like that, really small batch. So at that point, that dough, like, I don't even know, I think maybe it made it into our smallest mixer, but it's like the smallest mix you can imagine in our smallest mixer. Mm-hmm. And you're making it in a facility with bakers who are accustomed to dough batches that are like 50 times the size of that, you know, like just way different. So to like scale down and do R&D sometimes at the bakery, it's just a little hard to get a sense of like, is this correct? Is this process that we're doing right? And then you start to scale it up and you're like, whoa, make some adjustments, scale it up again. It's like, whoa, you know, we had a couple of those. Basically we got into a place where we liked it. We thought it functioned well. And we're like, yeah, I think it still needs something. Jeff came in. This was like a few months. We put it down. We didn't touch it for a while. Jeff came in and we picked it back up and we're working with it again. And also, like, you know, we're pretty new to pizza. Like, I never worked in a pizza shop. Andy never worked in a pizza shop. Jeff's done some work with pizza. But I don't know about like 18-inch New York style pies, you know, stretching those bigger pies. So we're all kind of getting our own feel for like stretching 18-inch pies while we're doing this. But we refined it a little bit more. And then you like open the restaurant, you know, you have a couple weeks to train. You do a batch that's like, all right, now we're going to try 50 pies. And that was like, the first one was kind of a flop. It's like, they just had to get the mix dialed in, got it dialed in, did it. And then we did something early on. We had some high gluten flour in the mix. And we were just like, you know, maybe it doesn't need this high gluten flour. Maybe we like pull it out and we try it. We tried 2 side-by-side mixes, and we all ate it on the line. We're like, kind of prefer the one without the high gluten flour. So we're like, let's try that. And then I think that was a mistake. we tried to get this dough to happen without the high gluten flour in, and it was just, the margin for error was like so razor thin. So getting the bakery to like deliver on that dough, very rarely would it be what we needed it to be. Yeah. And most of the time it was causing like a huge headache for Jeff and a huge headache for the people on the line.
Structurally, or just
structurally,
hard to handle? Yeah.
Structurally, hard to handle.
And then on top of that, it was tied to like a crazy period at the bakery where we were really short staffed and like, you know, trying to make sure that management eyeballs at the bakery were focused on the pizza dough when we needed to adjust it, you know, on a daily basis to get it into its like prime spot, was not possible. So it was a little bit hairy there. And it, you know, of course, coordinated with everything that happened at Open, which was a wild ride.
Yeah. But it was a great learning process, I'd say. Sorry for all the headache, Jeff.
Yeah.
But the perfect storm of just things that, like, getting slammed at the opening, having dough that wasn't ideal to stretch to the size we needed. Things at the bakery being difficult, but we managed to pull through and get to where we are now, which is great. And I'm very grateful that the team was able to sort of weather the storm with us, dial it in, and kind of get their feedback, because they're the ones touching the dough every day and telling me how it feels. And today it's easy to get to 18 inches. Today we can get it to 14, and then the last bit is kind of like, it's a bit of a gamble trying to get it that far without tearing a hole, or maybe it just retracts back down. So
has that been worked out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely been worked out. And I think, like Andy referenced early on, like, one of the things that made the most sense about us doing this project was we had the bakery and they could do the dough. One of the biggest challenges, I think, for that was that you have 2 buildings separated by miles that, are trying to work together as a team, but are just completely separate. So,
and different, knowledge base.
Yeah, different knowledge base. That was one of the, I kept telling Jeff and Andy, like, I'm like code switching, going between like the 2, because, they speak a very different language, the people at the bakery. I can speak a dough language with them that they understand. And then coming here, when the dough wasn't performing, I would try to like get them to understand, why it might not be performing, but you have to kind of like figure out the language to speak to somebody who doesn't know about dough, about fermentation. And that goes for like pretty much the whole restaurant. There's a person here on the line who's pretty knowledgeable about dough, but outside of that is just trying to like create a language that they understand in terms of like how to handle the dough, how to proof the dough. As the dough is being refined, it's like going through stages. So it's like an ongoing process of like, okay, today it's going to be this. This next week it's going to be this. We're going to handle it different. We're going to do this. But yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges of like getting the systems in place. Is the bakery too extremely knowledgeable about dough, but they're not seeing it in its final product. Everything is going out their dough outside of, we make a dough for mozza. We make a Bing for Majordomo. Those are doughs that just go out as dough, but most of the stuff that's going out, they're baking and they get eyes on. So it's much easier to kind of like refine and tweak the things that are off. they're just kind of like sending it off, and then I have to take it over here, make sense of it, and then go back and be like, okay, we got to do this.
Well, it's also very like isolated
Yeah.
cooking in a bakery where like
For sure.
I'm sure there's variables, but when you're at a pizza shop, somebody left the AC on, the hood's not running,
100%,
somebody left the
yeah,
dough out,
yeah.
somebody didn't take the dough out.
Yeah, and
there's
that's-
1,000 different variables.
Totally. Yeah, and all those variables are like, you're trying to control them and trying to make sense of them. Variables that happen over there, variables that happen over here.
And to establish the importance of those variables and the adjustment of those variables to the team that may not be familiar with them yet. So there's like that educational element is like a big part of it. It's like, we have to take the dough out of the walk-in at a very particular time or it's not going to be tempered properly. And that's changing as we're changing the dough. So we need to monitor all facets of the production.
Do you find it as crazy as I do that we put the best ingredients in our pizza, our dough, our cheese, toppings, fresh produce, and then we put pencil shavings on our tables called red chili flakes? What is a red chili flake? We found out about Flatiron premium pepper flakes from a customer who actually brought us some. We were putting it on every slice we ate. It was gold. We were like searching for it like addicts in the back, just like, ooh, where's the Flatiron? Where's the Flatiron? There is no going back. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. The 4-pepper blend, which is actually the blend we have on every table at Hot Tongue, definitely has a higher heat level, and I'm a heat guy, if you know what I'm saying. It has the arbol, the jalapeno, the ghost, and the habanero. Spicy. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Flatiron pepper, you are going to know the difference. In here, real peppers from Italy. Let's go. Head to flatironpepper.com right now. Use the code pie to pie at checkout. That's pie, number 2, pie at checkout. And any order over $25 is going to get you a bottle free of the sweet heat. Put that sweet heat in your cart, and any order over $25, that baby's gonna be free. Do not miss this chance to upgrade your pepper game. Head to flatironpepper.com right now and join the Pepper Flake revolution. Well, it's like really kind of a tough thing to manage because even most people that make their own dough, I can't really explain to you fermentation in a scientific way. I can sit there and we can have a conversation. We can touch the dough. I can tell you what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like. But that's also, I've been around dough for 15 years and I can barely explain it. But most pizza makers too, that they have no idea.
It's just the system that I have.
It's like, make sure at 2 hours, like this dough is out of the fridge so that when it goes into the oven, it's like not cold as fuck and it's gonna bake properly. That's pretty much, that's all you can explain,
Yeah.
but like giving them the language, it's like speaking a different language,
Totally.
So I can only understand how tough that is.
Yeah.
Especially when the dough is made off of site. But also like to be able to have the control, like, so it's a cold week here. So somebody's not worrying about, maybe the bakery's better off knowing that like water doesn't need to be cold or temped or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
there are definitely variables in place there. They know when it gets cold that adjustments have to be made. It's slow though, it's still kind of like you gotta approach it gently, gingerly.
Yes.
And like you're making the same thing in the same process every day, which there's a beauty in that, and that's how you get better. But it's also very easy to like fall asleep during that process as a baker, maybe as a non-manager baker. So your attention to detail and like, this feels a little different today. You can kind of like lose that in the process and not say anything. And then all of a sudden you're like, why is this dough so tight? Like I can't stretch it. Like it's because we mixed with the wrong temperature water because it was 10 degrees cooler in the bakery.
Do you ever have people here that are like, the dough's fucked up today, or like the goddamn, it's the fucking bakery again. These fucking guys.
I don't know what you mean.
In the beginning, we had some people who were a little more temperamental about the dough, and I would try to explain to them, like, it's still new for us, and they would say, well, this is a bakery. Why isn't the dough perfect right away? And I had to explain, like, it's a matter of scaling up. Like, it's not as simple as like, we made 10 doughs, so now we're going to do a 10x batch. You're not making it the exact same way. It's not the same amount of proofing. It's not the same number of folds, the same mix time. Like, all these things change. So obviously we can't make 300 dough balls and then just throw them out because we're not going to sell them because we aren't open for full hours yet. So, trying to manage everyone's expectations and have them understand that, it's a learning process for all of us involved. It's not just like, you don't just figure out a formula and say, all right, there we go, we're done. Like, the dough's perfect now, we can just move forward.
Let's make 4 times as much of it as we were making last week, and it'll
Right.
be the same. And it's like, no, it won't. It's in a different mixer, and that mixer will, needs to, exert more energy and more heat and more, all of that stuff needs to be considered. So
Yeah, something I remind them of even to this day is that like it's a sourdough, so it's going to be a little different almost every day. Like obviously we have a consistent product, but some days it'll proof a little faster. Some days it'll look more, gassy in the bin before we even pull it out, and it'll look like it's been more proofed, but it's still the same product. So we just have to understand like, something that Chris and I have talked about, and Andy as well, is like just asking the team, how's the dough feel today? How does it look? How's it proofing? How's it baking? Like just ask them every day so they, whether they realize it or not, they're thinking about the product and what it's like and how it feels.
Make sure that they're not falling asleep
Exactly.
at
Yeah,
their
yeah.
job. I'm curious, like at your place, how that is with other people outside of yourself. Are you making the dough still?
No.
Somebody else is making the
Yeah,
dough.
we tend to have just one dough person.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
the managers have the same understanding or enough understanding to know. Well, I wish they had more understanding.
Yeah,
But they have
if that person goes down.
Yeah, they have they can do a batch and they know the rules.
Yeah.
But we mainly have only one person that does the dough.
they have the
and they have
same
they
consistent
know what it feels like, what it's supposed to feel like, what it's supposed to look like, how to work the dough rounder, how to clean the machine correctly. Because although there's like 4 ingredients,
it's so variable.
it's time and it's temperature and it's feel. There's so much like feel, and then all the equipment that person's using is some of the most expensive equipment outside the oven that anyone's using. So yeah. And that's like really the only way to stay consistent. I've had places where like there was 3 dough guys, but then there's 3 dough guys and one dough guy's like, my dough's the best.
Yeah.
Right,
and then
right.
and then you find out that dough guy's like fucking
Changing things.
Yeah, he's like he's like putting in 3 times the amount of oil.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out why the fuck the dough isn't good. So
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the like challenges, but also like the most beautiful things about the bakery is like having a crew that's that big, making our bread, making the dough, all of our products that we do over there. That's one thing I'm like super proud of is like our consistency.
Yeah.
You buy a loaf of bread anywhere around town, it's like you can tell that it's a Bub's loaf, and
it's still made
it
by
can't
hands.
you can't have a person who's like, I'm in charge of the house dough. It's like, no. That's like, you just can't. It has to be.
That's a
20
90-hour
people.
a week job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So to get to a point where everybody kind of understands that and can slot in at the different places, mixing the leaven, watching the leaven, making sure it's like used when it's just right, when it's just mature, when it's correct.
When do you use the leaven? Like what around what hour?
What hour?
After
It
mix.
depends. It's probably at about
4 o'clock.
4,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
4 to
like
5.
a little younger.
We do autolies for most doughs first. So we mix just the flour and the water first, let it sit. You basically go through all the mixes, and then when you come back around, that's when you mix the leaven in. You do leaven mix first. It gets up to speed over the course of like 2-3 hours, and then it gets mixed in with all the doughs. So it's usually like around 4 or 5. Shout out to Melissa Garcia, our head baker, who
Yeah.
is also
Shout it out.
responsible for a lot
Wrangling
of that
everybody over there in that
consistency.
building. Yeah.
The reason why we're consistent is like a lot of the things that Chris and Nelly have kind of like helped to regulate.
Do you have a dough divider and rounder over there?
Sure do.
Sick, dude.
Yeah.
I bet it's fucking huge.
It's huge.
Is it French or German?
It is a Marande. It is French.
Yeah.
And then we have a Marande dough divider as well. And then we have a Princess, sort of more R2D2 manual divider rounder as well.
Most of our sourdough though is
Hand
divided
shaped.
by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just
Yeah. It's mostly for
dough
pizza
dumped out on
products.
the table and
Yeah.
divided and rounded by hand still.
But it's pretty cool. It's an elliptical rounder. So it's like you just drop it on one side.
Goes like-
goes
Yeah.
around.
rolls
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's so dope. And it can do almost up to a kilo loaf
Just
which is
fucking
crazy.
flop it in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Has the donut recipe changed?
The donut recipe has not changed. No. But
Is it a little dense?
Do you
Is
have
it a
for
little
reason?
denser?
That's also just like all the bread. That I would say honestly, that is one of the hardest mixes to teach people how to do.
Yeah.
And that's something that like it goes through phases. So you could come in on one day and eat a donut and be like, what's up with this donut? And you hit a bad day. But I think in general the team over there is really good at keeping that consistent, but it's such a hard mix to nail.
Yeah.
And they do a great job, but yeah, every once in a while it's a little denser.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, the recipe hasn't changed.
All right.
The method hasn't really changed either, at all. It just takes finesse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's all those variables. Well, I was going
Yeah.
to say, how many times has the bread recipe changed in the last 10 years?
Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, because
the bread
not
seems
every day,
yeah.
but like the formula is basically the same. But there's
Yeah.
seasonal things that need to change when the temperature gets colder, or sometimes there's a batch of Galahad that's like a little bit lower protein, so like less strength. But you kind of can't anticipate those things. You can only, this is another like don't fall asleep while you're looking at
Yeah.
the mix kind of thing. Is we have a formula. It's just plug in the amount you're making and it spits out all the stuff, and then you weigh it out and you mix it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nuance to that, especially as the seasons change.
Yeah. A lot of people, I get a lot of questions about like recipes and like, oh, can I take that recipe? Like, would it be crazy if I asked for your pie recipe or whatever? And I feel like on that note, it's like our bread, like our house loaf is like this thing that exists. I mean, the formula is pretty, it hasn't really changed all that much, but it exists outside of like the formulas. It exists in our mind, and like people know what it's supposed to be. They know what the dough is supposed to feel like. They know what the dough is supposed to like when they dump it out of the banneton, they score it, how it's supposed to score. They know how it's supposed to bake and how it's supposed to look when it comes out. And when it starts to drift from that, then you kind of get into the formula, like what needs to change, what needs to be tweaked, what about the process has to be, what about the process has to change. Same with the donuts. Like we know what that donut's supposed to be. Like we all know right now what a Bub's donut is supposed to be, and it's just about getting back to that sort of like standard that's kind of like in our shared, consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I
what
guess
it's supposed to be.
you could definitely probably give people whatever recipe, but it's not going to come out. the same way.
That's the thing is like our recipe would never work. And actually the last time it really made a major change is when we opened the restaurant there, and it did. I had to change the process quite a bit and some of the ingredients just to fit the mixer. The size mixer and the style mixer that we were using, it just had to be totally different. You can't take that recipe and just like transport it to another building, new people, new equipment, and have it just work.
And then I assume like at the beginning of the restaurant, we didn't know what pastries were going to go batch it and that people were going to want a ton of, and the donuts just like were gone immediately. So like you're scaling up like very, very, this is kind of like what happened with pizza where you're like, we got to do more and we got to do it now. Like people are angry. And when you open a restaurant, people are angry. They love that.
And there was a time where it was like, I had to be the donut guy until I could like teach other people how to like learn that process.
Yeah. Well, they got it dialed in now.
Yeah, they do. I rarely ever make donuts now, so it's
Nice.
great. Yeah.
Awesome.
How often are you touching stuff? Because I see you in the back there every once in a while.
Fairly often, but not everything. I come in and just if something's not quite right or off, investigate and get to the bottom of it. But yeah, I'm like not touching stuff a whole lot.
You and
I'm
Andy
able
are
to
just
I'm
in
able
the
to
office
fill
over
in.
there drinking Dunsmore wine.
Yeah.
Just doing wine.
So much
tastings
Dunsmore
all day.
wine in there.
So much Dunsmore wine.
Yeah. I'm still, I can still cover shifts and I'll do it. And especially in the holiday season, getting in there.
Yeah.
quite
Last
a
week
bit
was
more.
our craziest pastry week of the year for sure.
Yeah.
So like managing expectations, keep it to the pizza shop because that's where we're at. But like when it opened, you obviously had to have an idea of like what it was going to be like. Did the expectations of sales and everything, the way that it hit, was it more than you thought? And then, because we're talking about dialing in a recipe, and a recipe is hard to dial in when you're in the shit. But obviously that's what you guys had to do because you guys got fucking super busy.
Yeah.
But with those expectations, or not expectations, with that that boom in business, you can't manage the customer's expectations. So how has that been?
Well, the extra difficult part, I think, that added to this is that we already exist and people know who we are. So when we're our restaurant is 5 minutes from here. So it's like this, we're sort of serving the same group of people here, and they have expectations about us nailing what they want on day one. And that when you get the doors blown off because they're so busy, it's very, very difficult to diagnose the issue and to make adjustments on the fly. So we definitely came out hot. Like the sales were higher than we thought, and customer satisfaction was significantly lower than we thought. Not necessarily for the pizza itself, but just sort of, it was mostly process, like organizing our operations and making sure we were nailing, expected pickup times and like dealing with Uber Eats and how that's going to work and changing our hours as we got more comfortable with things. But it was an immense amount. And I was not around, and because I had a baby and all this stuff was happening. It was just a very complicated launch, but it always is. This one I just think was especially because like if no one knew who we were and we're like, oh, there's a new pizza place, as opposed to, oh, there's a new Bub's pizza place on the corner, it made things harder. And that's okay. But I'm happy that we were extremely busy, but it just took a lot to kind of dig ourselves out of that. Now we're doing so much better and customer satisfaction is so much higher. But I remember this with the restaurant. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
The opening was just like, absolute destruction, and all of the people who want to be terrible come out at that time and say terrible things to you while you're like care nothing more than to bring them happiness and make everybody get what they want as quickly as they want it. And you can't do that. But that is why I told you a long time ago that I will never open another restaurant, and then open this place. It's like that shit hurts.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it. Like you have to figure out how to hold it. But, I think a lot of people get into food and restaurants and stuff like that because they are people pleasers and they really want to make people happy. And they see what, making an incredible donut and delivering it to someone's mouth does to that person for the rest of their breakfast. And it brings you joy. And when you open a place, unless you are fucking Hillstone, there's a period where you have to figure shit out. It's very difficult to know exactly what's going to happen on the first day that you open your restaurant. And very few people can do that. So customers don't care about that or know about that. Some do, and they're wonderful and we're thankful for them, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't understand that when a restaurant first opens, there's going to be lines and it's going to take a long time and it's not the regular operation of that restaurant, but you just kind of got to step through that.
Well, it's tough too, because I've talked to a fair amount of people that own restaurants, and this would be a unicorn situation because not every restaurant opens with lines.
Right.
I mean, in LA, you might have a line for a week because it was hot and it was well publicized and stuff. But this is unicorn. This is very right place, very right time. You guys have already built up a name with Bubs for so long that you're going to get hit 10 times harder than a normal restaurant with a lot of press.
Oh yeah.
And so there is really no managing those expectations really at all, because you're gonna fail. Yeah. Maestro sausage, hitting all the right notes for 100 years. If you know me, you know I'm picky about ingredients. I only use the best. We run a busy line at Hot Tongue, and Maestro is one of those products that just performs. We use their sausage raw on the pie, and it cooks perfectly every single time. Juicy, consistent, and packed with flavor. No guessing, no babysitting, just quality. Now, Maestro chops and grinds their meat the old school way, so it never gets overworked. That gives us the signature medium coarse texture, and for us, it means it doesn't stick to our hands when you're topping pies. You move faster, you get better yields, and you're not losing product to gloves or washing it down the sink. It's premium sausage that performs. It's also the best tasting sausage around. That combination is really hard to beat. Maestro, hitting all the right notes. Are you running the ship like from day one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you manage your staff's expectations?
I mean, it's not easy, but what I tell them is, we're all still kind of learning together, and it might not be perfect in the beginning, but it's something that we're all going to work through as a team. And that's definitely the biggest thing I try to emphasize is that, this is a team effort. It's a group effort. We should all have the same amount of like care and love in this place and want to put out the same product. And the first few weeks it was a lot, working 6-7 days a week, 12 plus hours a day, every day. But it's all a labor of love. And it's just a matter of like Andy said, just trying to at least meet, if not exceed, people's expectations. And you can't make everyone happy, but
Jeff's here on his day off, by the way. I just want to say that.
Yes, he did. He came in here on his one day off this month to be on this podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. This is just something that I love to do, and like I haven't, in my adult life, I haven't really done anything else except to be in restaurants and cook and be in kitchens. And the first like real restaurant I worked the wood-fired oven making pizzas. So it's kind of come full circle from like my first experience in like a sit-down restaurant with servers and, learning how to handle dough and build a pizza and understand what makes a good pizza versus a great pizza. And now coming here and kind of running the show and, something that is really important to me is like still inserting myself on the line and being a part of the team and showing them that like I'm not above like jumping on the oven, jumping on the dough station, like, just trying to lead by example and show that like if someone has to wash dishes or wash lettuce or, prep toppings during service, I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, you'll do it too.
Yep.
And it's also like, what you were saying just about talking to the team and like trying to bring everybody together. The only way that works is if you prove to them that's true. And I feel like, we went through the clusterfuck of open and, got to the other side of it. And the team that is here is now like, they believe in Jeff. It's like Jeff said, we're going to get through this and everything's going to be smoother. And we worked every single day to make it that way. And Chris was like literally dove in and was working with Nelly at the bakery, working on the dough. And Jeff is working with the team here on refining operations and making things smoother and getting pizzas in and out of the oven faster. And like when they see on the other side that like we actually do give a shit and really want to make this as great as possible for everybody. And it's not just like some, marketing exercise or whatever, like then you everybody's starting to get happy and enjoying themselves and taking real pride in what they produce. And then the product just keeps getting better and better. Yeah.
Were the vibes tough in the first couple of weeks?
First couple of weeks, they were tough. Everyone would ask like, how's it going? So exciting that you guys finally opened, because there's like the Eater article that came out, I think last summer kind of announcing this. So there's been a lot of buildup. And I would tell people our biggest problem is we're even busier than we anticipated, and we expected to be busy, from the beginning as it was. The first few weeks, I would say, like, the pizza team walked out here, kind of shoulders slumped, heads down, like that was rough. And I would tell people that, we're going to get through this. We're working on it. And what I want to see is like we get our asses kicked and we walk out of here high-fiving and be like, fuck yeah, we just got crushed.
Yeah.
We killed it tonight. Everyone did a great job. And we're starting to get to that point now where it's like, we look at the ovens and the ovens are full with pies and we have pies waiting to be launched in, and the guy stretching dough is like loaded up and ready to go. And we're hitting that rhythm now where like
the system is dialed.
The system's getting dialed, and we're continuing to refine, and, we're never going to rest on our heels and kind of be like, all right, we're good now. Like definitely going to keep pushing and see how much more we can do. But yeah, I would say the morale has definitely done like a 180 in the past few weeks. And, it's nice to see the team like really celebrate the wins that we have on Fridays and Saturdays. We get crushed.
Was that hard for you to suffer through, or did you like lose any kind of? Were you fucking bumming, or?
I mean, it's disappointing to see the team not thrilled. As a leader, like I'm pretty hard on myself, and like I always put a lot on myself. Like if things don't go well, I think my first thought isn't like, oh, so and so didn't do a good job or the dough wasn't right. My first thought is like, what could I have done to have helped alleviate this or helped get through the push? Like it's I'm definitely like my hardest critic. So it was tough, but it also like just kind of motivated me that much more. It'll be like, all right, like what can I focus on? What can I do personally? With my own two hands, with my delegating of whatever needs to be delegated, and then working with Chris and Andy and talking to them and troubleshooting things. I obviously don't know dough as well as Chris or like the team at the bakery, but I know enough to speak like basic dough language to kind of like
Understand
yeah. And kind of communicate with Chris and be like, all right, so we can get to this point, but it seems like maybe the dough's so tight because maybe it's being mixed too long, and we're kind of overworking the dough, so it's almost like there's too much gluten development, so that's why we can't stretch it to the right size. Like very, very rudimentary stuff, but
Jeff actually makes very nice bread.
for my tasting,
For his tasting,
I made a focaccia,
yeah.
and I didn't even
delicious.
think of it until I got to the restaurant and went to put it in the oven. I was like, holy shit, I'm making bread for the Bub and Grandma's people. Like this could be a huge mistake.
Bro, terrible.
It was delicious.
No, it was
It
really
got you
good.
the job.
It was really good. Or like touche.
But yeah, like during COVID,
You're like it's okay. It's pretty good.
during COVID, like everyone else, I started baking bread probably 10 years ago. And then during COVID, obviously, like everyone else, got really into baking even more. And I would make the same focaccia basically every day. But, I would always start with like a 500 gram flour recipe so I could use ratios to like, change how much to tune it. And every time to be like, all right, yesterday it was 90% hydration. Today I'll try 88% and see what that does. And then tomorrow, instead of 20% starter, I'll do 25% starter and see what that does. So like I kind of nerded out on that and tried to learn dough, knowing how valuable it can be. And,
Yeah.
it's definitely helped me,
Good timing.
good timing for
Yeah,
sure.
100%.
Because at the time I was not making any, I was working at Hippo at the time. So I wasn't doing anything with bread. I was working a wood-fired grill and making pasta. So
We love Hippo too.
yeah, shout out to that place.
Yeah.
Definitely learned how to get my ass kicked there for sure.
Yeah. We actually ate there on Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you have a walk-in here?
We do, yeah.
You have two walk-ins, so you got large space. Is there a basement here?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
they're
all
both
right
small.
there.
It's all right there. Yeah, we put in a walk-in. There was one that exists that we use for just dough and beverages mostly, and then the back one is for produce and prep and all that stuff.
So when you are doing dough for the shop, do you know exactly how much for the day? Do you are your pars set? Because you obviously didn't have those, and then you said that like maybe it's even in and out a bit. Maybe it's not as chaotic, but you always have a number that gets dropped off here. And when that dough gets dropped off here, does it get dropped off at the day that it's supposed to be baked?
Chris, speak to this insanity.
Yeah, this is something I think it's been easier than we thought. I think just leading up to this, we're like, how the hell are we going to manage the dough pars? But yeah, they do. We've kind of settled on pars that we've been using for a while now. The change throughout the week, obviously your Tuesday's going to be much different from your Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday's our biggest day. But every morning I just check in to see like how many dough balls we have left over from the next day, from the day before. And the dough functions well, eats really well the next day, which that was the biggest thing that we weren't sure about. So that helps immensely to just kind of like
24 hours,
roll
let's
it
go.
over,
You
and
gotta
then
do 50
nice.
slice pies to start the day or more, So it's like those pies do really well with the day.
And then you just, you can adjust your par. For us, it's 3 days out. So this morning when I checked how many we had left over, I adjusted the par for Wednesday coming in. But yeah, it's been okay to manage. It's been fine to manage. We've had a few like fuck ups where people get into the dough, walk in, they grab the wrong stack of dough. That's not, they don't FIFO it properly, and we end up with waste dough, or we just get a little behind on adjusting our pars and end up with a amount of dough that we can't use is 2 days old.
So you won't use it after 3?
Yeah, so
after
so
two?
the dough is made by the bakery on one day. It's balled and then it's kept overnight retarding in their walk-in.
Yeah.
It's delivered to us the next day. That's the first day it can be used.
Got it.
We'll use it the day after that. But then, yes, on the third day, it's just too sour. It's too sour. It actually looks and functions really nice. You could use it, and if somebody doesn't know, they're not checking the tags, they might just go ahead and use it. It looks great, but it just has a little too much tang for our taste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people do like 5-day ferments with sourdough, and it's crazy. It almost like turns back into starter.
The last spot I was at, we
But
did
they
a
swear on it.
72-hour to start with, and then we would use carryover dough the next day. So,
I don't get it.
Yeah, it was.
Some people
it had
like
some
the-
character for
some
sure.
people like the funk, dude.
I mean,
I
when
mean,
I
I
was
saw
in,
the Danny Boy thing, or like I see a lot of articles about long ferment, and I feel like you lose control in that way to some degree.
Well, he's a classic dude talking about 5-day fermentation, but like, it just seems like if put more yeast in there.
Yeah.
Do it in 24.
Make your life way easier.
The biggest pain point today in the restaurant industry is third-party delivery. The customer experience is completely taken out of your hand, and so is the data. Open helps you win your customers back from third-party delivery. The Hot Tongue app, built by Open, has been huge for us here at Hot Tongue. Online sales went up 20%. We saw customers coming to the app from third party. They help make sure that food gets there, and when it doesn't, you're not calling DoorDash, you're not calling Uber. Open is taking care of all of that for you. And it doesn't replace people. It replaces your time. It gets you in the palm of your customers' hands and in their pockets. Open is basically giving you the digital power of a restaurant chain without losing your voice and your hospitality. Every guest who interacts with you is actually saved, organized, and yours to keep, not the third parties. Turn those contacts into paying customers. No blasting, no guessing, just targeted messaging that works. You can run campaigns yourself or run it on autopilot. If you don't want to create the campaigns, it will spit out 4 for you every month. Marketing is something that falls by the wayside sometimes, and that's where Open really succeeds. It takes so much off of your plate, the automations, the AI creating campaigns, the SMS, the push notifications going out, double points day, the loyalty program. All these features matter and really help a small independent operator. If you want to level up your guest experience, it's time to get open.
Learn more at getopen.com/pie-to-pie.
I would call myself I want to call myself an artist. I like really care about the product that I push out. And I think one of the biggest things for me personally has been able to let go of the artistry a little bit, because people don't care, you know, like they don't, there's certain nuances that like aren't going to matter. So it's like, okay, what are people really going to notice, and what line can you cross yourself without like giving up all your values and morals and cooking,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
but that, you know, I do talk to a lot of people who have some of the most crazy dough programs. And it's like, dude, if you ever wanted to scale this would never make, this makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's almost just like the romance of it all. Not him specifically, but
Yeah.
just like, you know.
A lot of
Yeah.
it's just like what you started with. You know, like the house loaf is the same thing when it was just me as it is now when we're making like 600 a day, pretty much, you know? And like what you start, the bread making process is fairly similar to 9 years ago. It's just there's way more of it and way more diversity of product. The same thing with pizza. It's this system that we set up. We've adjusted it a number of times, but it's basically, you know, if you start with the philosophy that you need to ferment your dough for 5 days, then that's what you build your system
Yeah.
around. And then you're too immersed within the system because it happens constantly every single day to break it up and reboot. So I totally get it. Whatever your formula is the right one. It's
Yeah.
just because that's how you built up your system. And that's, yeah.
I can't imagine trying to navigate like
Yeah.
handling
What
the
day is
pars
this?
around
Yeah.
a like 5-day fermentation schedule.
yeah.
That would like,
yeah,
break
3 days
my
was insane.
brain
I can't
apart.
imagine 5. That's wild.
Well, so you've never even gotten close to like dough being like running out here.
Couple times early on.
Yeah, early on we ran out a couple times when it was like the crazy days where we were just like doing
and we
more
just
than
had no
anticipated.
sense of how many people were going to show up and how many pies we were going to have to make.
And also just like the systems of like running, like one unanticipated factor is how busy slices are. Like we did not think that it was going to be like a major portion of our sales, and it's a major portion of our sales. So that means like this constant need to refresh slice pies and fit those in with all of the other pies that we're trying to get out the door. So that was honestly, I think, other than the dough itself, the biggest kind of like thing to figure out that I think I've figured out pretty quickly in terms of like getting ahead of baking slice pies ahead of service. But that was a big meatball to figure out.
Slices.
Slices.
Yeah, because I mean, it's Los Angeles isn't a big slice town either.
No, I mean that is another one of the main reasons why we decided to do this is because of this location. It's
Yeah,
just like,
people almost see it as a novelty here that we do slices, and like all of us being like East Coast
Slices?
people, to us it's
Like,
like,
it's
yeah, of course we're gonna do slices. Like Andy's from Jersey, Chris is from Boston, I'm from upstate New York. Like I lived in
was
the city. Like we all
essential
fall
part of life
Yeah,
was
slices.
slice
It's like
eating.
yeah, of course there are slice places.
Yeah.
and here people are like, you guys do slices? That's
It's
amazing.
the only
Like, that's
place
such
we
a good
could do
idea.
it. You know, it's either someplace on Fig or someplace over here on York. Like, there's no other like maybe
Place
on
with
Abbot
that-
Kinney or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you where are you going to get foot traffic? And just the fact that exists here and is getting more voluminous as time goes on is bodes really well for the slice business. But it's a wrench in pizza making process for sure, especially at the beginning.
Well, and it's if you don't have that foot traffic, slices are kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It
there's
doesn't-
still
they
a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it does it. Yeah. Well,
We're just at the opposite end of the spectrum with that now.
Like, oh, we got to do more slices.
yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't slowing down, huh?
No, and it's
No.
like a good, obviously you make more per pie if you're selling slices because of the slight markup. But there's also potential for more loss. Like there's a potential for waste. Like there's all sorts of things to consider, but it's definitely a good revenue stream.
Yeah, any
for us.
late night rush we get, it's 90% of the time people grabbing slices after 9 p.m. when the whole pie's kind of died down. People have eaten dinner, but we'll get a little pop at 9:30 where suddenly there's a small line, sometimes a larger line.
mitigation.
Exactly. Yeah, people leaving the bars, the music venues, leaving their jobs at other restaurants here on York, and they just want to grab a slice before they go home. So sometimes we'll have to make another 10 slice pies at 9:30 at night just to satisfy those guests.
Yeah. Well, it's quite a neighborhood. There's a lot of a lot of collab opportunities here too. Have you looked into any of that with who's here on York?
We don't collab.
You don't collab.
No, I don't collab.
Oh shit, dude. That's a hard no, dude. I wanted to see the Joy Bubs collab. Dude.
Oh, that would be sick.
Oh,
we
man.
love. I mean, like all of us. I think I've lived 5 minutes from here for 15 years, and like all of these places are part of the things that we eat regularly, and like it's
Opening both restaurants, it was like we'd be like, wow, what should we get for lunch today?
Yeah,
Had Joy.
we ate at Joy like
we ate so
every
much
day.
Joy opening here.
It was crazy. Joy, Bell's, like Hermosillo is the regular bar of record.
The Bell's Bubs, dude. Come on. And they're kind of like in the same wheelhouse as Bubs and Grandma's.
I've joked that we should do
That's
like
too good.
bagel topping pizzas, and they should do
it's
like pizza bagels there, and we can do it with
some
some
Wolfgang
because like
shit.
the smoked salmon pizzas, like a Wolfgang situation. Like maybe we can figure that out. Like those guys, JD and Nick, are like really good buds, and I ride bikes with JD all the time. And Ross, who owns the Hermosillo, is another good bud of mine.
Man, that's the bar to be with kids, man.
It's great. It's great. We go. That's like I have a 2.5-month-old, and we've been there like 3 or 4 times, just kind of testing the.
It's a toddler bar, dude.
Yeah.
Whether they like it or not,
They party
it's
hard.
fucking packed all the time. The staff does not seem like very impressed. They do not. And I get it. I have one
It's
5-year-old
tough.
and there's about, 50 of them running around. But
Not to mention the potential liability and
100%.
madness of all of that.
100%.
But I do
But
not.
they have so much space.
They do great.
It's so
too
inviting
good.
for those
It's so,
kids.
dude, just run around.
It's
dude.
so easy to have a nice time there, even though there's a bunch of kids screaming.
Yeah.
I love it. And Ross doesn't care if folks bring slices over as long as they buy beer. It's a nice harmony. And now there's another brewery coming in across the street. Common Space is
Yeah.
opening up across
Yeah.
the street, and the York is becoming a music venue, so that's going to be another thing. So it's just
Oh,
like
that's cool.
there's more fun stuff coming, and it's just a hey Sam, how do you know Sam?
Dude, me and Sam have known each other for a very long time.
You go way back?
Really?
Oh
Way
man,
back.
Sam's the best.
He is.
Sam
He
is
Absolute best.
the best handyman.
Yeah, don't
yeah.
tell. We're saying it publicly on a podcast.
Yeah.
Let's not say Sam's last name.
We'll cut it out, dude. We'll
Can't
cut
let
it.
anybody else know about you, Sam. You're the best.
Sam used to make pizza too. He mentioned
Yeah,
so.
he's a pizza maker.
What?
Maybe he
yeah.
could fill in here sometime.
Me and
I'm
Sam
learning.
met at a pizza shop.
Wait, for real?
Wow.
Me and Sam were also in bands for a very long time.
Oh, wild. That's
Yeah,
Very
we worked
crazy.
at Tomato Pie together.
Oh man.
Wow.
We delivered.
amazing.
We were pizza delivery
Silver
legends. Yeah, when that place was doing
No shit.
the biggest numbers in LA
sure.
that I've ever fucking
Tomato
seen.
pie's solid. I
They
love
are.
tomato pie.
They are.
Yeah.
God, what were we just talking about?
Sorry.
Sam came in and we all lost our mind, dude.
Sam is the best.
Because I wanted
one remembers.
I wanted to follow. I wanted a follow up, dude.
Oh, collabs. We were talking
Oh,
collabs.
This is what I was gonna
Okay.
say. Hold on, you do collab because I drank a Bub's sour with Solar.
Oh, true. Solar
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
count because
that's-
we're like full family already. It's not a collab. We share a wall.
Yeah. I know you're
yeah,
like,
RG
That,
and
that
Pies
beer,
out of the
that
other
beer
side.
is phenomenal.
It was. I don't know.
It's really good.
Sours are crazy, but I was like,
Good.
I'll drink out of the bottle.
It mellowed out and is like a really nice beer now. And I love that they're still doing it. Archie is a mad wizard, and I love those guys.
The mushroom stout's pretty good too.
Yeah, it was funky. I tried
It's
it.
like a cool vibe in there.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
It
it.
doesn't feel like a brewery because like other people are drinking tea and
Our general manager at the restaurant, her partner is the general manager at Soul Arc next
Yeah.
door. It's a beautiful family vibe. Archie is like my neighbor, who's the owner. Like I just wonderful people, delicious beer, and just like a totally different kind of place to hang out, and in a really good way.
Yeah.
Plus the music at night is
Yeah.
fantastic. We share a lot of. We do this Sunday and Monday nights at the restaurant where we do live jazz. A lot of the performers like also perform at Soul Arc and do their more kind of experimental, like not dinner music there. So we have this nice harmony, and that way, harmony, pun intended, music stuff.
very nice.
Yeah, I got it.
Is Bub's ever going to be open 7 days a week?
I don't know
for dinner.
I don't know. We're the restaurant is like going through some changes at the moment. Like it's been like we talked about briefly for a second. Like it took us 3 years to open that restaurant.
Yeah.
We signed our lease 2 months before the shutdown in 2020, and opening a restaurant on your financial heels is never a good idea, but we had no choice. We had to like push through. Our contractor disappeared with a bunch of money of ours and unfinished work, and we had to change our contractor to somebody else and like figure out how to pay them and like all of this stuff to try and get open. And then once we got open, it got very crazy very fast, and there really hasn't, even though we've been open for 3 years, it's still this dragging of like catching up to that crappy open. So the restaurant is doing fine. It's just still extremely hard to manage.
Are you talking about debt then?
Debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
just
catching up
That
with
foundation is just not really there. It's still a hole.
it's still a hole, and it's taken almost 2 years to become profitable.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that was sporadic profitability at best, and now we're more consistently profitable, but it's still this like, bag we're lugging around that's really heavy.
And has that hurt the bakery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It has. Yeah. So now it's like we're making some more significant changes to try and mitigate that. But I think the after we get to the other side of this, will probably be January, February. Then that's a real consideration. It's like those nights are 5 hours. It's 5 to 10. They make a little bit of money. It's very low labor. It's not like daytime where we are like turning and burning and tons of to go and all that stuff. So maybe it makes sense to extend that out. It just makes things busier and crazier, but that is definitely on the table.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like the menu, the like dinner menu really like hit its stride like a month ago. Like we did our chef Katie Randazzo did some kind of like a big change. Now it's a bit more diverse, a bit more like full meal kind of experience.
Yeah.
So I feel like we really kind of got there. So now it's like, if we're there and people are responding to it, maybe we just extend it out a little bit.
Yeah, see how it goes.
Happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's just like, right now we're Sunday, Monday, maybe we just do Thursday, Friday as well. And it's like a big weekend thing, and that's
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Well,
that'd be sweet.
I'm all for it. There's only so many places I can walk from my house, you know?
No, this is true.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, it is always a good time. We have our booker Ryan Weinstein is always bringing in great folks. We have a lot. I'd say it's like 85% folks who come regularly and are just incredibly fun and easy to love. And
Yeah.
food is great and beer and wine and all that stuff. But yeah, if we can extend it and it makes sense, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it would be busy on those days. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, because Monday and Tuesday, or is it Sunday, Monday?
Sunday, Monday.
Sunday, Monday
Yeah.
those are kind of hard days, too. Like those
Yeah.
are like
Well, that was
definitely
kind of the
slower
idea
day.
was like we
We don't want to
maybe
get crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get crushed, and we kind of want to cater to restaurant workers.
Yeah.
Like, give them a place to go on the typical days off for restaurant workers. And yeah, just kind of like those nights aren't typical. So like if we can kind of own that and make it weird, which is like also a bub thing, then we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loman AI is a very powerful tool that every pizzeria should have if you have a phone. On past pods, I've said throw your phone away, and this is me eating my words. You can pick a voice. We have Marissa. She sounds fun and energetic. And there's even like background noise to make it feel like they're calling somebody that's in a restaurant. To be completely honest, she can answer questions better than I can about my own restaurant. I'm not trying to replace any humans, but I'm telling you, nobody at my restaurant is dying to answer the phone. It just fixes a problem. It really creates a better customer experience. This isn't some clunky chatbot. Loman actually takes orders, answers questions, books reservations, and processes payments. Upselling is hard to train too. Please offer them a salad. Do you want a drink? It's just stuff that we as humans forget to do that Loman does every time. By not using Loman, I guarantee you're leaving money on the floor. Set up a demo and see for yourself. Link in the description. Loman AI. Never miss a call, never miss a sale. With the pizza menu, the Zuppelis, am I saying that right?
Oh, the soupli.
Suppelis. And was that really an important thing to have on there that you don't see those a lot around here?
Zach, we worked with Zach Jarrett in the first pass, like on our development before we found Jeff, and that was a Zach thing, bringing it in. And once we had them, it was like, oh yeah, we should have this. Also, just thinking about like walking food and stuff that folks can grab a slice and grab a soupli and take it on the road. And like a lot of us are big fans of Roman food and Rome, and and that is a very Roman thing. But yeah, I feel like we just like folks are still just using us for pizza. We have a lot of other stuff, and sort of just the beginning. Jeff's got we're gonna launch a couple sandwiches soon.
Oh shit!
Yeah, just 2 a day, like kind of thing, grab and go on focaccia, but amazing stuff. Jeff's already making a porchetta. I don't know what, once a week, once every other week now.
It's like twice a week now.
Twice a week
Having
now
to make
because it's
porchetta.
busy, because we have a porchetta pie that we would use the porchetta to do a porchetta sandwich. Like that's coming around the corner, but the soupli are really phenomenally. It's like it's like a risotto mozzarella stick.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Are those prepped here?
Yep.
Everything's
On
done
chef?
here.
Yeah.
Right here. Yep. We make a tomato risotto. Season it nice when it's done. Chill it, form it, stuff it with mozzarella. Par fry it to kind of help it set up, just for easier storage and kind of a longer shelf life. And then just kind of flash fry to order and just make sure you get that nice cheese pull when it comes out.
Have those been moving well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's laborious, but I think it's definitely worth it because when people get it, they love it.
Yeah. You don't see it a lot.
You don't know.
It's everywhere in Rome, but
It is. And typically, like when I mention to people, they have no idea what it is. So I'll say it's similar to arancini. And
Yeah.
then it's kind of a 50-50 shot if people have heard of that.
yeah, you're like, oh, what? You're like, oh yeah.
And then from there,
ChatGPT, what is arancini?
exactly. Yeah. I'm like, it's like a risotto croquette. And they're like, oh, okay.
What's a croquette?
Okay.
It's like an adult mozzarella stick.
Yeah, that's the
Basically,
best
yeah.
rice.
That's how I explain it to people now. It's a
Yeah.
mozzarella stick with rice wrapped
and it
around
has the marinara inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about the cannoli?
Cannoli, that's also another weird one. That's
Cannoli's fire, dude.
Oh, thank you. So that, I mean, you see soupli sometimes on the East Coast, but I actually didn't know what soupli was when we entered this. So I knew arancini. I just didn't know like the Roman counterpart that was egg shaped and had the cheese stick inside. But yes, cannoli is something I grew up with having quite a bit of, and loved.
Shout out north end of Boston.
Yeah, North End, Boston. Mike's Pastry, Modern Pastry, all these spots that like had lines out the door for people just getting cannoli. But
Not
yeah,
a lot
here
of great cannoli here, dude.
no, there's not.
No, anywhere in the States.
You know, that similarly, it's just talking to people when you're like, oh yeah, we have cannoli. Some people don't know what a cannoli is, or they know what it is loosely, but they've never tried one. They've never had one. So that was interesting just to see how that would do. It'll be interesting to see if it picks up more. But yeah, I think most people, I've heard several people say like, yeah, I didn't get the cannoli because cannolis suck. They just are shitty, you know?
Yeah.
Good ones are fun, hard to find.
So I
out
think
here.
sometimes people you just avoid it because they know like I've never had a good one. Yeah. But yeah, I think our cannoli is fantastic.
Does it like make you sad when like people are like the cannoli was good, but what the fuck? Like this thing's way too small.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point because I mean I think there's like two cannoli sizes. There's like the larger size and the smaller size, and you know I think it depends on like what you're used to.
It's funny
I
because like,
think
people
it's-
don't even know what it is, and then it's not big enough though. You know?
Yeah,
What I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
classic.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just like another thing where it's like, why don't you try it first?
Yeah.
All that
yeah.
matters is that
It's
I'm
pretty
angry
decadent.
and posting publicly.
Yeah, I think it's well priced for the size, but yeah, and I actually, you know, I grew up with a larger size of cannoli, and had in mind to like make that for here, and then just could not locate the forms anywhere, and then found the smaller form, made it, and then was like, this makes sense, you know. If we had the large size, it would be hard. It would just be like too much of a.
It's too much.
Two
Something you
decades,
don't
like,
want to share.
Breaks
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
too
yeah.
in your
Supposed
hand.
to, but
Yeah.
if you're doing that with something that's like this
Yeah.
big, it's just going to end up on the ground.
Yeah, and I did go back to Boston right before we opened. Went back to New York, ate pizza, ate cannoli, and having the big ones, I was like, this is too much. And when it's not good, it's like, oof, doubly not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the smaller size. I like to be able to like get multiple flavors. It's easier to be like, I'll get another one if I need another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do for all of you, like when you get criticism, whether online or to your face or you know both, like how much do you let it get to you? Like, is it something that you're like, oh, maybe I should go back and look at that, or oh, maybe this is this way, or does it get in your head, or for the most part, do you just like let it not bother you?
I mean, for me, it's something where it kind of depends on the criticism, I guess, but I try to take everything in and at least kind of absorb it and take a second look at whatever they're criticizing. But there are going to be things where people just don't have the same expectations we do. You know, something that's come up is like charring on the crust. The three of us are pretty much in agreement that some charring on the crust is great. Like, we love that. It's like a contrast in flavor and texture and a layer of depth, but someone who has young kids might not want that. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's something that like I always take into consideration. I admittedly don't read reviews very often online, especially because that's where people really love to be keyboard warriors and just kind of like, it's anonymous, so you can say anything with no blowback.
Of course.
But once in a while, I do end up going to check and just see if there's anything that I can adjust or change or something that needs to be addressed. Because at the end of the day, like, this is about satisfying guests and making sure our customer base is happy. And if they aren't, obviously something should be changed because it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's something that I remind the staff of is like, no matter what is going on or what's happening within this kitchen, we need to make sure the people out there who are paying money are happy with the product they're getting and they're satisfied. So that's paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say similarly. I mean, there are certain things where I'm like, I know this is right and this is awesome, and I just want to keep doing it, and maybe people will catch on. But at a certain point, you know, if it's like unanimous or you're getting consistent feedback, it's like, all right, well, this isn't working. Try something different or try to tweak it. But yeah, bread was like a similar thing in terms of like the color that, I mean, in a lot of ways, we just kind of had to train people that this is the way, you know, because I think before a lot of the people who are doing sourdough right now in LA, like before that,
The color of your shirt.
yeah. exactly. You'd have bread that was just, and people were used to like grocery store things. Same with like cannoli shells. You get a cannoli shell from like a grocery store, it's going to be like many shades lighter. Many days older. Cream has been sitting in the shell for a while. Yeah, all those things. But yeah, so in some ways you have to kind of like train folks like, this is the color that should be on the exterior of your bread. This is how the crust should be. And it's just what we're going to do. And, we did dial back a little bit on the color sometimes.
Might happen
Just to, yeah.
It's complicated because there's like both of these guys said, there is oftentimes things of value to collect from, Instagram comments and Yelp reviews, but ultimately the motivation for a public flogging of a small business is insecurity and the need for some temporary feelings of power. And I don't have any patience for that. And it makes me undervalue the review if the person is if they had any intention on improving what the problem was, improving upon it, they would reach out to the restaurant and let them know their negative experience. And that happens too. I'm much more thankful for folks who reach out that the crust was too dark for them. Then we can make it right.
Yeah.
We can refund their pie and give them a discount for next time and, try us again. We're working on it. And thank you so much for reaching out directly. If you're doing it on a public forum, there's some psychological backing behind that makes it's more about you than it is about anything else.
Yeah.
And to me, that invalidates the criticism.
Yeah.
That's why I also have trouble with, food criticism in general. It's just sort of it's just hard to stomach when the reality is people need a filter for what they want to eat and not eat. And Yelp and Instagram and, food reviews do that. But a lot of times, there's a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, a lack of visits, a lack of all sorts of things that contribute to negative reviews. And ultimately they're not constructive. They just destroy.
Yeah.
So that, and it I didn't say this part yet, but like whether I think they're valid or not, they cut me deeply.
Yeah.
Like deeply, deeply. Even someone who's like there was something I posted finally was like trying to get into, I hate managing social media, but I still do it for some reason. Posting about Souply and just getting the word out that we have Souply and this is what it is and you can come get it. And, there was a commenter who said that you can only, if you want us to walk around, don't sell it in a pack of 2, which is, we were selling them in 2 and 4. And that was an oversight. That was a mistake on our part. I think it was something that we needed to kind of get our shit together and have a rhythm with stuff. But yeah, it makes sense to have one. So we talked about that at our next managers meeting, and now we're going to sell them by the single. Mm-hmm. And that was helpful. But at the same time, just the fact that there was a negative comment on something that we're launching that we're really excited about and love to eat and love to share, like I'm, in the shower or driving in my truck or whatever, and like just thinking about that fucking comment and like, like it eats me alive. And the fact that we've been doing this for a decade, certainly gotten way better at dealing with it. But the initial shivved in the gut kind of feeling is still there and still oscillates back and forth in my mind, clanking on the inside of my skull whenever there's anything negative that's posted, because it doesn't incorporate how fucking impossible all of this is and how hard we're working to resolve every possible situation for everyone and how much it hurts when we make mistakes. Everyone just treats every small business like fucking Target. And like, I'm just going to shit on this business no matter what they are because it's just a business and that's what it is. Instead of this being an accumulation of people trying really hard together to do something, which is what this is, not McDonald's or Target or whatever. Mm-hmm. All businesses are not created equal and do not act equally. So that's why it cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even that clerk at Target doesn't deserve to be
fucking
berated because the coupon is 1 day old.
Yeah. Some policy.
What
do you want me to do?
You brought in a coupon that is 1 day old.
There's literally a million employees for this business. I am one of them and I have no control over this.
Yeah. But it's just like whoever they're like looking at.
Yeah. American Rage.
Yeah, American Rage, man. That's the book I'm writing.
Sweet, sweet rage.
Well, I think you've been able to build something like very big with the bread and like how every restaurant you went at, if you got a like piece of bread, and now still it's like it's a Bub's. This is a Bub's rye. Yeah. Like, hey, you got to put it on your menu, and like that's kind of how I was introduced. Like, there was a waiting list to get on the bread list at the time. I was like, it was like a fucking club. It was like the hottest club to get in, and that was just getting some baguettes delivered. And I remember like it was like a very cool thing to have Bub's at your bread. Like Wax Paper had it, and I was like, dude, I gotta get this fucking Bub's bread over here. Without even knowing how expensive bread was, but it was much better than what you're gonna get at Restaurant Depot. But to be able to do that, to be able to build that and then build that into a sandwich shop, and then the sandwich shop, it like kind of like trumps itself too, and it goes into a pizza shop. It's like, how do you do that? How do you create that not hype, but like that respect?
This is what I think, and this is theoretical, is that we didn't create anything. It's all about just sticking, like, Dune was the first place that bought bread that I was making out of my house. And Scott just decided that he was going to write the name of the business on their menu. I would never ask anyone ever to do that, ever. And I feel like that maybe set some kind of standard, and other folks were doing it, or maybe it was because I couldn't make enough, and then Chris and I couldn't make enough, and then now we still can't make enough, that like folks were like, oh, we got it, but so they want to put it on their menu. But that is why I think the bakery there were a lot of very like good luck moments, like when the day before we started at the Hollywood Farmers Market, which took like 6 months of begging to get into. There was an LA Times article like highlighting all of the like new small bakeries that were coming up, and we were in there. So when we opened on the first day at the Hollywood Farmers Market, there was a line of people who were excited to try us. There's a lot of like kismet moments. There's also negative ones too, which when I was driving back from that market, a bread rack fell off the back of my truck and made a yellow Lamborghini spin across the 101.
Incurring $50,000 of damage to that car.
Shit. Big issue. So I like, for us, we don't have PR, we don't do marketing, we don't spend money on like trying to acquire eyeballs. Everything has been organic. Like, if the bread is not good enough to prove to you that we're doing something good and working really hard to do that, and the way that we care about it by, like making sure that you got your delivery and everything is good, and that if you're not happy, we'll fix it and we'll come out. I'll get in my car and I'll drive out there and drop off some bread, or Chris will run something XYZ, or like that's, I feel like how it happened is like we're not trying. Like, like Bukowski says, don't try. Like, we're not trying to do anything. There's no like marketing strategy PDF that has how we're trying to get our message out. It's basically
Pace
just
out the growth.
Yeah. Like for us, it's just about do the product great, treat people like they're human beings with respect, and then that will come back to you. And it's grown that way. There's a million other aspects about consistency and things like that have developed over time at the bakery, where the product is pretty close to the same every day, that we don't lose a lot of accounts. So we're just kind of growing on what we already have. But that's why I feel like, I still feel bad for being in business at all. Like, the concept of a business, of capitalistic business, feels wrong to me to some degree, just selling something. I know that's not right, but like there's something in me that's like, you're selling this to somebody. You're not just giving it to them. But like the not trying to dupe people into trying, buying, coming back and using our stuff is what allows me to feel okay about what we do. In that we're making a product. We're trying to treat the people who make that product with as much respect as we can afford. Yeah. Beyond just like being kind to people and recognizing that they're human beings. But then, making sure that we deliver on the promise of what we, said we were going to do for people.
Yeah.
And treating them with respect as well. So I feel like that is how it's grown, and how all of these subsequent things have happened, is just because we're just trying to do the right thing always. And that's why it hurts even more when people come at us so hard, because it's like, we're just trying to do the right thing for you
Yeah.
and everybody else.
Yeah.
And if we could deliver on every single, here we just started vegan pies with vegan cheese, which is not something that any of us eat.
Big mistake. You should have just kept it off your menu, dude.
Oh,
People
man.
have been clamoring for that and gluten-free pies
Well,
since
get
day one.
ready for the reviews, dude.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. Thanks a lot.
I did test probably 3 or 4 different vegan cheeses that we would all eat, and we all kind of had the same,
People are happy,
feeling of both.
Just feeling seen,
Yeah.
I think that is the point, is that, pizza is a pretty democratic product. It's pretty able, what's it? Oh, Mike. Yeah, I need one of these. Pizza is something that's universally loved, and everyone should have access to it. And especially because of where we are, and that town was here before, and town
Yeah, they did those things.
Did those things. This is such a neighborhoody spot, and it's my neighborhood. It's our neighborhood. It's like, important that we cover off on the relationship that they set up. But yeah, now I've lost where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you said, like kind of putting aside the like being an artist. It's like if I could have it my way, we wouldn't do vegan pizzas, we wouldn't do gluten-free pies. We would have pizzas that look the way I want them to look. But at the end of the day, I'm not the one buying these pizzas, this product. So it's not ultimately up to me. I'm not that much of like a sensitive artist where I'm like, well, this is my precious
perfection.
product, and
Yeah.
this is how you're gonna have it. It's like no, like. It's like the trend in like nicer restaurants where it's like no substitutions, no modifications. Like,
Yeah.
if that's how you feel, that's fine. But to me, like that kind of defeats the purpose of having a business that's supposed to satisfy the general public, where you want to create a client base and have your guests come and enjoy something that they personally love. Like,
Some
I'm
people
not
want to
like-
buy all ego.
Totally.
Other restaurants can't. Like, cannot be an ego-forward restaurant. It's a family restaurant.
Of course.
To take care of everybody.
But you can still have a balance because
You have to have an opinion.
you
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I think that there should be more restaurants where it's like we don't do that.
Yeah.
There's enough pizza places that like you can get a great slice if you want to put fucking 15 toppings on your pizza.
Go for it.
Sure.
Be my guest.
Yeah.
You can do
That's
half
a
and
great
half.
example.
I don't give a shit, but you're not going to do it here.
Right.
I don't even, because what happens with training your team, like that's where all the mistakes happen, and that's like where a bad review happens.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
So
early
it's like,
on, we had
it's
to-
about limiting that sense because people don't even want that many options. They
Right.
just think they do.
Sure.
You know.
Especially when they're ordering online and they can just click, and it's like the online shopping mindset of like, well, yeah, just instead of 2 toppings, why not 8? So like early on, we limited how many toppings you could put on a pie because at some point you're just kind of
You're creating your own shitty experience.
Exactly.
But then they show up too, and they're like $62, and it's like
Exactly,
you put
yeah.
on
It's a
every fucking topping that we have, dude.
I don't know if you know this,
Yeah,
but
the
all
bad
of those
review.
toppings cost us money. I don't know if you know that.
right.
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, it was soggy and it didn't eat well. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, because
like
you put every fucking vegetable
drowned it
meat
in
on the
6
moisture.
meats on
Yeah,
this.
you made a bowl of soup. Dude.
Exactly.
You
That's
asked
the
for
joke that
3
we
times spinach.
Yeah.
What do you think happens?
Yeah, exactly. So like,
An extra sauce.
yeah, totally.
sauce.
Of course, we want to make people happy, but like you said, there is definitely like a limit to like what we can and should allow, so we can still put out a product that we're proud of.
Yeah. No, I get that. And like being like accessible and like having all those, like, don't get me wrong, we have a ton of gluten-free and a ton of vegan customers. I just have a bit of a tumultuous past with
Sure.
with vegan people.
They came at you hard.
They came at me hard, and they also and I can say because I was one of them at one time. Your standards are pretty like you expect a certain thing. I'm going to shut up, and we're probably going to edit this out because they scare the shit out of me still.
Sure, they're an outspoken group
yes.
for sure.
But I'm gonna pivot here. So, having like a restaurant, and even like your guys' bread, like for me, we were buying ciabatta and baguettes from Bub's Bread. I would pick it up, and then one day I don't know what happened. We might have missed a delivery or something, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I could make my own bread, but. Really, the story is just about like how maybe your guys' work has inspired me. So it's like I was like I got obsessed because the bread's so fucking good, right? Like it's just like this is so good, and then it's like as a pizza maker too. And I think a lot of people kind of have this arc story where like maybe their pizza's really good, but they look inwardly and how could this be better and try to understand dough. And I think making baguettes, I had this guy from, what was the flour company? Graincraft come in and he showed me all this shit. And we got into poolish, we got into sourdough, but it was like this dive in and it was like that kind of push. You never know when like that thing's going to happen. Right.
Yep.
And then, getting into sourdough, and then I obviously people read Tartine. You ever read that book?
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
got all their books.
Everyone's got
that
the
was my first
Tartine.
job in LA.
There's probably so many fucking pizza like recipes that started with just that country loaf recipe, you know, because everything's like an offshoot. But then like I read the book that you wrote during COVID, and it's like I think your folds were at 20 minutes in that book.
I think probably
Was
the
it
first fold was
the first 20?
Yeah,
Was it 20, 40, 60, 90?
something like that.
Anyways,
I think
it
there's
changed
3 folds,
that like it's all these like little nuances around somebody's journey. And then I think about like having bubs in the neighborhood, and you talk about like not liking capitalism, you know, because like you like I like you have to, somebody has to spend their money, but it's like we're excited to walk to your restaurant and enjoy a donut every Saturday and Sunday. You know, it's like it becomes this kind of sacramental thing where it's like this, you become part of the neighborhood. It's more than just like money.
Yeah.
It's an experience that you've created with the staff, and like I'm sure this is going to happen, and it's happening already with the pizza shop, where you become like a staple in a neighborhood, and it becomes more of like this family vibe. It isn't like bullshit, you know, like there is no like, oh, they're just trying to cash in or fucking make money or blah, blah. Like there's so much intention in getting an egg sandwich that like is the same every time. And I tried to cook the eggs that way at my house. I have no idea how the fuck you guys do it. Like they're runny, but they're not. Like it's like fucking insane. But to have those memories, and then on Thanksgiving, we got a pie, and like everyone else cooked something, you know, and we bring out the fucking pie that we bought, and everyone just sits around and everyone talks about how much they love Bubs, and like everyone's talking about the pie.
Don't make
and
me
it's
cry,
like,
man. It's Monday.
So it's like in a lot of ways I admire the bread, you know, but I admire so much like that this place can open with like such gas, all gas, no brakes, and then like to have relationships with another restaurant in the neighborhood, and like getting to have gotten to like know you a little bit and talk to you guys. Like it's all very, I don't know, like sometimes I wish people would tell me this more, because like that's what like you get into a restaurant to like not just to make great food. It's like an experience. You're curating like family time and memories, and people are choosing to choose their time with you. And it's like, it's just incredibly special. And I think like Highland Park is very lucky to have, you know, a Bub and Grandma's Pizza. And I feel very lucky to live so close in Glassell Park. The donuts they're life changing. And so is everything we've eaten.
Oh man, you're so nice, Alex. Thank you.
Since 2021, I've had the privilege of consulting on projects across the country, helping operators fine-tune their dough, systems, and everything in between. I take it seriously because I know what it's like to build something from scratch. It can be terrible and lonely. Plenty of folks reach out just to talk shop, and I'm always down to share what I know. But if you're ready to take things to the next level, the next step of improving or launching your business, I offer a full menu of consulting services, from dough doctoring to dialing in your systems, policies, and workflow. So head over to alexkoons.com to get in touch. Let's build something together. Better pizza for everyone.
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying about the commenters or like Yelp reviews. Like, we're all so conditioned to think that every business, no matter the scale, is coming at us in the same way that like we're getting advertised to every day, and if we're trying to stream something or whatever. And I understand that wholly. Like my career before this was in advertising. I wrote those commercials. I tried to sell people garbage they don't need. And I feel like it affected me in this like permanent way where I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't do that.
You're atoning.
What's that?
Said you're atoning.
I am. You know, I've now worked longer in food than I did in my previous career, and I feel like now after 10 years doing Bubs and 10 years versus doing ads, I can now move forward from that to just only inject goodness into the world as best I can.
Yeah.
Because I've compensated. I still loathe myself, and I'm a hypocrite and all of the things that everybody is. But maybe that's part of why we do try to do things the right way, is because I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want to spend 10 years doing something that part of me has to push down, knowing that it's wrong. In my eyes, I have some of my best friends in the world still work in advertising, and for me, I couldn't do it emotionally. Like I just wouldn't. I, started needing to see a therapist and talking through this shit because I couldn't breathe anymore with how much it affected me. With food, and this is also why reviews cut me so deep, is because we are putting so much into this, like so much of our energy and our life and our goodwill, despite everything, into these places. And yeah, they are the same mechanism as a McDonald's. It is a place where you go buy food and you pay for it and you leave. But the goal is to make it not feel like that. People will still treat us like that. And that hurts. But at the same time, I think that we've done a good job, or are trying to do a good job, of reminding people that smaller businesses don't have to operate like big businesses. There is a spectrum. And small businesses especially, even if they try to behave like big businesses, which I think a lot of them try to do, deserve more credit for trying to do something independently than the easier route, which is to jump on with a more corporate kind of approach to whatever it is that you do. And small businesses get wrecked constantly, especially in LA right now. Everything's really, really hard. Everything's really expensive. It's a slog to do the right thing, but I think that we're so committed to it that we're just trying every time. Even if we fuck up, we recognize that we fucked up, own it publicly, move on from that. But yeah, I don't know, I'm blathering.
Yeah. With changes to Bubs and Grandma's and the pizza place, like it always, like the menu doesn't change that much. It hasn't at the restaurant. There's been some things that the biscuits and gravy fucking fire, dude. Just had it.
Shout out to Caroline Joanna for that.
Dude. I was like, I'll get the yogurt and the oatmeal, and then I switched up on my wife, dude. But like, or stuff like this, the cinnamon bun, or like stuff that you're working on, sandwiches and stuff. When you make those changes, how long do those things take? Do you think about them for a while? Do you like to just stay dialed in, hit the classics, have like the farm fresh donuts, like, what's in season? Or are you going to, kind of keep some of the menu new and fresh, but always play the classics?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll jump on this one. I think, like, I love having a place. I mean, some of the things you said, were quite touching. Thank you so much. But I do love to have people come to a place and have things be consistent, have those classics, like be like, oh, the donuts were life-changing. Like, gotta have those every day and like keep that locked in. It can be a little daunting sometimes to think about bringing new things onto a menu like that it feels dialed, feels really special. So sometimes it's might come about if we're like, we have a void to fill. We have like, there was with the biscuits and gravy, it was kind of like there was a bit of a breakfast void, and like we felt like we needed to
juice breakfast.
Juice breakfast a little bit. And biscuits were one of those things where like, one day we're gonna make a biscuit. It's gonna be awesome. But then there's also that pressure, like, oh fuck, it's gotta be really good. It's gotta be really good. You can't put a biscuit and gravy on there and the biscuit's like so. Yeah. So that did take a little bit of time to be like, nope, this biscuit's not right. No, it's not right yet. It's not right yet. And then when it's right, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna release that. That can be hard sometimes to spend a lot of time on R&D, and
some things work and some things don't.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to abandon it before it just never makes it out. But yeah, I think putting things on those menus, it has to work with the vibe, and then it has to hit that standard of like, it's as good as the rest of the stuff we've had out for this time.
Yeah.
And it has to fit in with like our insanely complicated layered production. Like,
Yeah,
you know, there's
that's a huge thing.
not a lot of space in the restaurant. And adding things to what we already do is a scary prospect. So it has to kind of like Tetris in with all the other shit. It's the same. It's going to be the same thing here too. But like, that's been hard to figure out. You know, no matter what kind of space, like that is a space that we built from scratch. It was an empty room prior. And there's 500,000 things that I would change now.
Yeah.
Had we, my God, there's things that screw with our labor because we need people at positions just because of there's a freaking metal pole in the way and you have to split the table. Otherwise you could do it with one person. Like there's things like that are just complicating, but you can't predict those things until you get into it. We're already thinking about blowing up this layout and rebuilding it, you know, like
there are plenty of times where we're like, oh, we could
This
do
would be-
this would be amazing. But we just can't do it. Just don't have the space, can't fit into the production. Yeah.
Well, I like the classics. I don't really like a lot of change in a restaurant.
No.
I feel like
Go for the thing.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
like, you usually do that because either you're bored or like you feel like it's going to bring more people in.
maybe this is like a East Coast diner thing. Cause like that was sort of the way that I operated as a young adult or whatever was like, once I established the thing that I wanted, I'm getting that thing. I'm going
Yeah.
to this place to get that thing.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll try something that somebody else has, or I'll like freak out and go get something different. But there's something like I'm hunting for comfort in restaurants. Like that's what I want. Is like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
I'd
it's
say
that
from those experiences, and I think that was a lot of what we were trying to create when we were thinking of that restaurant, that diner feel and that feel of like, oh,
Lunch
the
counter.
thing that you want. Sometimes I look at the menu, I'm like, there's like way more things here than ever would be at those places that I really want to go to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but LA is pretty. Like that's another thing about the restaurant. We kind of, you know, would hope to carry here, especially when we get the dining room open and expand the menu, is like making sure that the restaurant is just Bubs. It's like, we're not like, people call it a diner, people call it, a deli. Like I don't want it to be any of those things. It's just its own thing. You have like a 70s vegetarian grocery store sandwich on there in the Rainbow. You have like, an Eisenberg's kind of tuna sandwich on there. You have things that kind of come from those various comforting places of our youth and pre-youth, but it's its own thing. It's a cobbling of those things together, and it works in this space. So like when we're creating new things, we have a pretty wide area to play in, but it also has to hit these like kind of hard to specify marks. I think this is what will happen here too, to some degree, is like, we're trying to hit on East Coast, red sauce type establishments with our menu. I wouldn't say that Supli is that. Supli is purely Roman and is more Italian as opposed to Italian American. But everything kind of has to come from that, like, burnt orange, wood-walled basement style carpeted kind of pizza place of the early 80s. It kind of has to fit in that mold. Otherwise, you're not speaking the same language as the rest of the things you're serving. Same thing has to happen at the restaurant. I think that's why the menu has to have those core things that kind of like pull the idea together, and you can kind of like add things on the margin that maybe stretch it a little bit. Sometimes they hit and stick around. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever do pasta here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we
talked
started
about
with
that.
it.
We started with lasagna and kind of, not lasagna, with
get the
Big
ziti?
Ziti.
Yeah.
Ziti, yeah.
Big
It's not there
Ziti, which
anymore?
is rigatoni, but got to call it Big Ziti.
No, everybody
Everyone
has
does that.
Yeah.
dude. No one gets the ziti.
You're like, I want to call it Big Ziti, but it's definitely better with rigatoni.
Yeah.
Like,
This was something that we talked about when I was doing R&D and we were kind of finalizing the menu. Was like, it's almost like, maybe it's an East Coast thing, but like baked ziti is like the dish. It's not necessarily the pasta itself. It's the meat sauce, the ricotta, the mozzarella baked in like a casserole style. But traditionally, like to me, and I think Andy mentioned this too, like it was always made with rigatoni, even though you call it baked ziti. It's the dish itself. And in terms of like the menu here, we kind of have these parameters that we're trying to stay within, of like the tri-state area, red sauce joint, red and white checkered tablecloth, like, which for me is very nostalgic because where I grew up in upstate New York, there's a huge Italian American population. There's a ton of people who get tired of living in the city and move upstate for a quieter life, but they need a means to survive. So they open a deli, they open a restaurant, they open a pizza place. So even though I grew up, 120 miles north of the city, there was still a lot of that food influence there. My favorite pizza growing up was from this place called P&L Deli, which was like a little grocer from people who moved up from, I think it was Long Island or Staten Island. They moved upstate because they wanted a simpler life, but they, had to earn a living. They had needs, so it was a deli / grocer / pizza shop that also served chicken parm subs and meatball subs and things like that. And they would make their own pinwheel steaks, the skirt steak with like spinach and cheese, and the toothpicks holding it together. And
try to make a pinwheel out here, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
what the fuck is that?
Exactly. I explained to people, and they're like, "What?"
It's like, all right, never mind.
Like,
Forget I said anything.
Throw those away right now.
When Andy first described the concept of this place to me, I was like, holy shit, like I need this job. Like, this is made for me. Like, this is the food I grew up eating.
You mentioned pinwheel steaks pretty early in that process.
Like, everything about this place is like very nostalgic. Like, it's the food I still cook when I want comfort at home. Like, I'll make red sauce and pasta, or I'll make bolognese or meatballs. Like, that's what my mom made when I was growing up. So I'm very excited to like be making this kind of food. And once we open the dining room and can expand the menu, I can't wait to do things like, maybe we'll do a cavatelli, or maybe we'll do bring baked ziti back, or some kind of lasagna.
I hope so. It was so good. It just, when we opened, as you can imagine, people just want the pizza.
Yeah.
And
totally.
you're
It's like,
spending all this
this is the
labor making this thing that's like not selling it.
Yeah, we try to push that we have wings, we have
It's on the
salads,
box,
we have
dude.
knots.
You
Like,
gotta-
we
you
have all
gotta
these
sell
things.
it.
Where
Yeah, I know.
You better put that back on the fucking menu.
We're not
people
taking
still ask,
Simply
they're
out.
like, so what do you have besides pizza? And it's like, it's on the box. Like,
Yeah, the menu is there. The box is here, all illustrating the great diversity of products.
Yeah.
I thought
That's always a tough one where it's like, yo, this is so good.
Yeah.
Why isn't
Yeah.
anyone buying this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only they knew how good it was.
I hope it catches when we open the dining room.
I'm sure it will.
Don't
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It's so
Pasta is so much easier to sell to somebody
sit
sitting
down.
down.
Sitting down,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And it's like, it's so good. Would you
Yeah.
make your own pasta?
Eventually.
Yeah, you psychopath.
We need more
I mean,
space. Yeah.
we need more space, but like that's why I mentioned something like cavatelli. Like, I worked at Frankie's 457 in Brooklyn. They're known for their cavatelli with hot sausage and brown butter, and like it's just people come from all over for that one dish. And
Yeah.
something like a cavatelli is easy to make because you get the machine to just crank out the pasta, and I've even seen people attach like an electric cordless drill to the cavatelli crank and
So
just
enough to turn.
just crank out pasta like crazy.
That's tight.
So simple things like that, maybe like a gnocchi, things that are like pretty easy to make in large batches by hand would be great. It's just a matter of finding the time and the space. But if you find someone who knows how to make pasta, they can crank out, a couple days worth of pasta in a couple of hours.
Well, it could take some pressure off the ovens if people are eating
Yeah,
pasta.
That was the idea.
Totally.
That was the idea from the get-go.
for the dining room.
Yeah.
Got to diversify.
That's right. Just put more weights on your back.
That's it.
All right, let's do last question. If knowing what you know now, I'm going to ask you, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done different when you guys opened?
That's a good question. Anything I would have done different? Honestly, it's tough to say what I would have done different. I feel like we planned and planned again and revisited so many ideas and possible outcomes and scenarios. There's only so much you can kind of anticipate. So I think we kind of did put our best foot forward when we opened. I guess the only thing that we could have done differently was like, and it's not ideal for like a business scenario, but like scale up the dough recipe before we open so we can see what it looks like at 20 dough
you're
balls
just never
versus
probably
100
gonna
dough
do that,
balls
yeah.
versus
Yeah.
300
like-
dough balls.
Unless you do a ton
wasting
of
so much.
do a ton of donations or something.
Right, wasting
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
and labor and product, and like, that was really the one big hiccup that we faced in the beginning, other than just being even busier than we expected. Even if we had dough that was perfect from day one, we still would have been crushed with the people that were coming and lining up and ordering online. And but yeah, I guess that's the only thing I would have changed.
Okay. And then for both of you, what advice would you give yourselves 9 years ago or 10 years ago when you first started like working together around the same time?
Like, what advice would I give to Chris?
Yeah.
Chris doesn't need my advice.
Sure, I do.
I'm joking. Your advice to yourself. That's a fucking tough question.
Damn, putting him on the spot.
Yeah, no.
All right.
But like, just like it doesn't have to be 10 years ago, but
Sure.
like, what's one thing you know now that it's like you could have told your younger self to just like really ease the burden of life or like your work?
Well, I have a semi-joke response first, which
Perfect.
is get pregnant with my wife 3 months earlier or 3 months later. That would have been cool. To not have a child 10 days after we opened the pizza place. That was incredibly gnarly.
You need to get an aura ring, dude. Just see like what your stress levels are. You know what I'm
My
saying?
dad has one. I was like, I don't want anything that tells me anything because I feel like it's just going to make it worse.
It's going to be a feedback loop of anxiety.
Yeah. We're like,
You'll
wait,
be anxious because
I thought I
of your
wasn't
anxiety
anxious.
levels. Yeah.
And you're telling me that I am?
Yeah.
All right, I guess I am. I don't know. I think take it easy. Like, I think just kind of being kind to myself is always my hardest work. And I've gotten so much better than I used to be. But trying to roll with the failures and, try not to spend that time thinking about the Yelp review in your car. Like, it serves no purpose. It does nothing for me. It does nothing for the business. It might make me, make a change faster. But if I could, read that criticism, and simply just turn that into a process of improving things within the business without feeling the emotion of it, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how possible that is for me, but maybe if I started earlier in training myself not to react. Not reacting is like a big
tough.
part of it too. Just trying to not, and I've gotten so much better at this. To give yourself time to process, because if you don't give yourself time to process, you usually react in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that is a skill.
Patience.
Like, that's the other thing is like
Time.
all of this is skill. And like, as in it's acquirable. It doesn't have to be something that you're like, I'm an intrinsically like calm and paced person. It's like, no, you're going to be who you are. How you approach certain situations, knowing who you are, and I think that's the biggest part of it is learning who you are, helps determine how you're gonna respond. And for me, my response was like, emotional and large. Now it is significantly less emotional, significantly less large. And if I could work on that before this all started, that would have been a lot healthier for me in dealing with all of the stress, because it's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of what Andy just said was cropping up in my mind as you asked that question. And I feel like I've come a long way in that regard. Like, just going through the dough process was a big thing, and just being like, take your time, figure out the variables, take them one by one, and that was hard because the whole restaurant was like,
alarm bells are ringing,
what the hell is going on? So I'm like, it's coming. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Trust me. But yeah, I think taking time to like process and do things right is huge. With everything, just not reacting so quickly is very important.
Well, it's very hard not to react.
Yes.
Especially in the kitchen,
No, you
or when
have
things
to.
are fucking going wrong, or like allowing yourself whatever time is sometimes feels impossible.
Many circumstances require very quick reactions.
Yeah, I mean, I think also like, 2025 was the hardest year since 2020, I would say, for us, at least in general. Just really starting with the fires, leading into just like a very complicated time to do business in Los Angeles, California. Like it's just real tough for businesses right now. But like trying to feel like it was approached in a very different way than 2020, where it was like, oh, this is unprecedented. This is a crazy thing. We have to adapt super quickly. It's going to be insane. And it was. We managed to make it through somehow. But now I feel like Chris and I have been through so many things over the last 10 years with crazy stuff. And going through those things and making sure that you take something with you from each kind of insane experience is kind of what life is just like you go through life on this trajectory and go through various gauntlets that whack you with, varying pieces of wood of varying density in your face. And whatever you take away from that experience of how to avoid getting hit in the face with large, heavy pieces of wood, you can use to avoid that happening in the future. And we've certainly been through an immense amount. We've already been through an immense amount we're not even at 3 months yet here. But like learning and internalizing and not being so egocentric that you can't continue to add on more components to yourself to try and be a better version of you, to try and be better for everybody else. That's an extremely important part of this process. It's just like, fail hard, but bring something with you every time until you're, a much steadier person because of everything that we've been through.
Yeah. Well, the trail to success is painful and dangerous.
All of that.
And as long as you can learn, you can keep on going.
I think so.
Live another day.
That's all there is.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming in on your only day this year. Your only day off this year. This was a pleasure. This is like a long time coming. I'm excited that I got to sit down with you guys. Again, I admire you. I think you guys are doing great things in Los Angeles. I'm excited to eat the pizza more and more.
You're making the best pizza in Los Angeles, my friend. I love your pizza. I just want to say,
it was a benchmark for.
It certainly was.
What we were doing.
Your pie is incredible.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I will see you guys soon enough for donuts and a cold brew.
Hell yeah.
Thank you again, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Hey y'all, if you love what we're doing here on Pie to Pie, the best way to keep it going is to support the show directly. You can donate, subscribe, or even buy us a coffee. It all helps us keep bringing the real stories from the pizza world straight to your ears and eyes. A little can go a long way as we try to keep bringing you the best of the best. Hit the link in the show notes or visit our Instagram link tree to chip in and help us keep the ovens on. As always, love, trust, and pizza dust. Pie to Pie forever. Let's go.